I discovered my wife of 7 years is cheating on me. She doesn't know that I know, and I'm getting my ducks in a row. Part 2. Fifth update. A lot of you were wondering about Bev's husband. Bev's husband texted me back, "Crap and then thanks, man." I don't know how exactly to interpret that, but I'm too tired to be invested in Bev's husband's marriage. I told him about his wife being a piece of crap. What he does with that is on him. Good luck, buddy. Emily's mom texted me using Emily's phone. She wants me to unblock her. I ignored it. Several hours later, she asked me again and promised not to bring up Emily if I would unblock her. I unblocked mother-in-law's number. I texted her and told her I was still alive, had no plans to change that status, and that I would unblock her later on so we could talk. I told her, in no uncertain terms, that I only want to chat about me or her, but not Emily. I told her I need a break from all of this and I'll unblock her later, she just needs to be patient. I'll contact her again. Emily tried a perfunctory "I'm sorry you're hurt" text, which wasn't very comforting. Hints from her texts, and the fact that her mom is using her phone to text me, indicate to me that she's at her parents' house now. There was a long silence of several hours, and finally, Emily texted me to check my email. Went to my spam folder, and there it is. As before, I obfuscated the text and writing because I don't want her to do a text search on the internet and find my posts. So yeah, the email she wrote didn't have these misspellings. She has autocorrect and spell check like everyone else. Sorry for the annoying spelling. You grammar Nazis are now the victims of my paranoia. Also, I'm making comments in the email too, like before, because I'm no contact, and this is therapy for me. Here we go. My name. I keep thinking about how this can't be real. It can't just be over. How you can just shut me out like I was nothing to you. It's killing me. Yeah, that's the idea, Emily. It sucks when you get abandoned by the one you love, huh? I don't even know how to start this because my mind is racing and nothing makes sense. I know I don't deserve a response, but please, just read this. Please don't delete it. I just need you to hear me. I talked with my dad and sister-in-law's husband. I told them how I messed up. They said I was stupid, and they're right. I told them about how I never loved John and I always loved you, and they laughed and told me that doesn't matter at all. I felt so stupid. I know you're done with me. I know I don't get to ask anything from you, but don't I at least deserve to explain? To look you in the eyes and tell you how sorry I am? To tell you I never stopped loving you? You think you know everything, but you don't. Yes, I effed up. I betrayed you in a way that I can't take back. But it wasn't because I didn't love you. I need you to know that it was never what you think it was. It wasn't about love. It wasn't even about sex. I was pressured and felt obligated. Oh yeah, let me just shave my privates, wear some $700 underwear, and traipse on down to the expensive boutique hotel for a nice ripping. Help. Please. John didn't just walk into my life and sweep me off my feet. He inserted himself. He did so much for me and for my business. You know how much I was struggling, how close I was to losing everything. He was the one who helped me. He connected me with the right people. He helped me with my lease, with contracts, with vendors. He got me meetings I could have never gotten on my own. And I let myself believe that he was just being a mentor, that he just wanted to help me. I told myself it was just one time. That if I just gave in once, it would be enough. That he'd stop pressing. But it wasn't enough. And I didn't know how to get out of it. I kept telling him no, but he always had a way of making me feel like I was being ungrateful. Like after everything he did for me, I was selfish for not giving him what he wanted. I hate myself for not shutting it down from the start. For being so f***ing stupid. For letting it go on. I tried to stop it, but every time I pulled away, he'd remind me of how much he helped me, how I wouldn't be where I am without him. How I'd ruin everything if I cut him off. So I kept making excuses. I told myself I had it under control. I thought I could handle it. What do we call someone who trades sex with someone they don't love for goods and services? Tip of my tongue. And then Christmas happened. New Year's Eve happened. And that's when I knew he wouldn't stop. That's when I knew I had to end it, for good. I did end it. But by then, it was all effed up. Everything was effed up. I knew I had to tell you. I wanted to tell you. I knew that the second I told you, that you'd never look at me the same way again, that it would be ruined. And I couldn't handle it. I know you at least suspected ever since you accused me at New Year's Eve. I just put my head down and wanted it to all go away. So I kept putting it off and telling myself I'd find the right time. But there was never a right time. And now I've lost you anyway. I can't stop thinking about Charleston. Do you remember? That stupid little bed and breakfast where you hated the coffee, and we spent half an hour at a gas station just so you could get a normal cup of coffee? And we sat outside that little seafood shack by the water, eating fried shrimp and laughing at the seagulls trying to steal our food, and you were acting like a knight with your funny British voice, protecting my food and making me laugh. Yeah, I loved that weekend. Remember when you didn't have other guys? That was a swell time too. I don't expect anything. I don't expect you to take me back. But I also can't believe that you would just walk away without even talking to me. After everything, don't we deserve that much? I'll sign whatever you want. I'll give you whatever you want. But please, don't just disappear. Don't pretend like I never mattered. Because I know I did. She'll sign? This smells like a trap. I love you so much. I always have. And I'm terrified that I'll never get the chance to tell you that in person again. I loved you too. But I need you to get out of my life, for both our sakes. Please. Emily. I reread my comments and I sound like a heartless bastard. I'm just tired, I guess. No mention of John's credit card. No mention of how the affair wasn't fun for her anymore. No mention of how she was supposed to be handling me. Is this what they call trickle truth? Because a lot of this sounds like the Emily I know, to be honest. Maybe there's some truth to it, but she's downplaying her role in it all. It's like this was all happening to her and she wasn't an active participant. I mean, I feel sorry that she lost control or whatever, but it's not like she didn't have a choice. She chose to sleep with the guy because she felt obligated and he did her favors. Doesn't that mean she's a prosty? Sounds like I was prescient in naming her affair partner John. Here, I thought it was just 4 letters that are easy to type on a keyboard, and it turns out to be a roll. Should I petition the mods to change my username to ObliviousPimp6969? I do want to know what you all think about it, but I'm telling you right now, it doesn't make a difference ultimately. She's trying to change the narrative to the point where we're both victims instead of just me, and I think that's just crappy. The really effed up thing is that part of me wants to believe her, that she was just a victim of John. But the problem is, that doesn't change the fact that she slept with him for almost a year. If I forgive that, then what am I? Just sign the papers, Emily, and let's move on from this. Can't you do that for me? Please. You're young, you're beautiful, you don't have any kids, you're a successful business owner, and you have a whole wardrobe of fancy designer clothes courtesy of your sugar daddy. You're killing it at life. Go live it somewhere the F away from me. 6th update. My friends took me out for a night on the town. I had informed them ahead of time that I would not be drinking. They informed me ahead of time that they would be drinking. Oh well. The dudes who took me out were, fake names, Jim, my friend from high school who knew both Emily and me. He's married. Jim was pretty floored that Emily did this. Matt was a groom I met early on when Emily was working her job. Early in Emily's career, before John, a bride had her hair and makeup artist bail last minute, and my wife jumped in because she was the first person they called who said yes on short notice. I packed along her hair and makeup stuff. Emily has since had everything organized in an efficient way, but this was at the beginning, before she had everything down to a science. I sat with Matt, chatted him up, and calmed him down before his wedding while his bride and mine did their thing. We had a lot in common, and the time flew by fast. Emily and I kept up with him and his wife and went on couples dates occasionally, but mainly Matt and I would hang with Jim. Bob is our single friend. Well, I guess I am too now. He's always the odd man out with the couples, but the married guys would hang with him so we could live vicariously through his singleness. You can just set up a board game in your living room and leave it? We'd mainly get together and play Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, we're nerds. Bob is the dungeon master. We went out to dinner at a pretty nice steakhouse, which was a nice change from protein shakes, but it was still kind of hard to eat. Eat your steak, you fussy. Followed by laughter was the catchphrase. I got it all down like a big boy. After dinner, I recounted to them most of the saga that's in my posts, minus some details. I don't want exactly what I know to get back to Emily, even though these guys are trustworthy. They were very supportive. They couldn't believe Emily did that to me, and they couldn't believe I did that to Emily. They were pretty upset with her. Matt told me that he heard Emily is really struggling. I stopped him right there and told him I didn't want to talk about or hear about Emily beyond what we had already discussed. The steak dinner was delicious but expensive. Afterwards, we went to this country dive bar Bob had heard about. It's the kind of place where the floors are one large glue trap for human beings. The floors were so sticky I had to retie my shoes with double knots. That's how you know you're in a good dive bar, right? They were drinking beer and bourbon shots while I stayed sober. I don't need the alcohol fairy advising me to call Emily, cry, and weep, and then eat a bullet. Nope. I talked to my dad a couple of days beforehand, and he told me to stay away from alcohol. I was way ahead of him on that one. He said real men drink bitters and soda when they're not drinking booze at a bar, not diet soda or mocktails. Those are for fussies. I asked the bartender for a bitters and soda, confident I'd be looked at like a manly man. She teased me and said, "Okay, Grandpa," and poured me some club soda, shaking droplets from what looked like a brown Tabasco bottle. "Thanks, Dad. I actually liked the taste, though." I soon became stuck in that sober guy limbo where everything is funny but you know in 1 hour you'll be babysitting adult toddlers. The guys got more and more crap-faced and more enraged about what Emily did to me. They wanted to call her up and yell at her. I told them I'd already taken care of it and talked about that video I linked a bunch of times here, about how absolute silence and no contact is the right way to treat a cheater. They seemed to agree. Jim was calling the female bartender bro. Matt was downing a draft beer while stuffing steak nachos down his throat, after a steak dinner. He and his wife are pesky vegetarians, so I have aided and abetted dietary infidelity, just like Bev did with real, actual adultery. I have no shame now. Matt paid for that sudden intake of red meat later. We had some lively conversations about politics and their relationships, but not mine. Just to head off the questions, I don't know if there were any pretty girls there. I wasn't really looking. I felt like a burn victim, like everyone was staring at me and doing the thing where you inhale sharply between clenched teeth. After the bar kicked us out at the end of the night, I herded them into Jim's minivan and kept Bob from purchasing a homeless man's dog. Jim didn't need that smell in his minivan, and Jim's wife would have harpooned me. Matt was moaning and holding his stomach. I stole a trash bag from the little closet in the bar's restroom just in case he needed to throw up. I drove them all home, let them get their own cars the next day. I walked Bob to his bed, thought better of it, and decided to just cut out the middleman, so I deposited him in front of his toilet, head hanging over the side. I handed Matt over to his pregnant wife and told her that it'll be Matt who's vomiting for a change. She tried to talk with me about Emily, but I politely shut it down quickly. I don't know why her friends are so invested in us getting back together. I can only assume they don't know the whole story. I don't want to reveal details to anyone unless I absolutely have to. I drove Jim's minivan home to his house. I shoveled Jim into his master bath, where he proceeded to sacrifice his expensive steak dinner to the porcelain gods. It's okay, I didn't pay for it. Jim's wife gave me a big hug and asked me how I'm holding up. I said, as good as can be expected. She said I should concentrate on whatever new beginning I choose next. I guess I just want it soon to be ex-bingo because that's one of the top 3 things I've been hearing and saying lately. I paid for a ride back to the bar, made sure all their cars were locked, then drove mine to the hotel where I'm currently staying. Sunday night, we played Dungeons and Dragons and Codenames at Bob's place. None of us drank. I had a good time then, too. I'm going back to work on Monday. By that, I mean I'll be bringing my laptops either to the public library or a coffee shop to do my work. I don't have any in-person meetings scheduled for my office next week. I think I'm just going to lay low and establish a new normal. Next week, or maybe the week after, I'll be moving over to my dad's friend's Airbnb remodel and helping out there in my spare time. That'll be my home for the foreseeable future. Right now, we're waiting on the credit card records, and to my knowledge, Emily hasn't gotten a lawyer yet. Come on, default judgment. My lawyer told me John's wife contacted her. She didn't get any more specific than that. Nothing from Bev or her husband. They're Emily's friends, not mine. I did her husband a favor. What happens next is up to him. To answer the multiple questions here, the only overnights Emily had during the time of her affair were when she visited her parents, 3 times. I verified it with them each time. Not because I was paranoid, but because I liked talking to my mother-in-law, and it was an excuse to chat with her. The 3rd time Emily went, she came down with the flu, and mother-in-law took care of her for a couple of days. I called every day. I'm pretty convinced she didn't do overnights with John. The closest she came was during New Year's Eve. I suppose mother-in-law could have aided and abetted her infidelity, but she's very religious, and I don't believe she'd do that. Not gonna lie, it would hurt a lot if she did. As far as news about Emily, I have no idea, since I'm no contact. Matt said his wife said Emily is struggling, and that's it. I hope she gets help if it gets too bad. I checked the cameras, and Emily seems to have moved out of the house. I believe she's with her parents currently, which is a hell of a commute for her, so she's probably taking time off work too. I'll update if anything significant happens, believe me. Otherwise, I probably won't be as active on here as I was last week. 7th update. A lot has happened, and I'll just go through it all in order. I don't have the credit card records yet, but my lawyer says she successfully got a gag order, or something like that, so that Emily and John won't be notified of the subpoena until we get the records in our eager little hands. I expect a huge crapstorm from Emily when she gets that news, trying to turn the narrative any way she can so that she doesn't come off as some kind of crazy hooker. I met with John's wife, I'll call her Lisa. She was devastated by all of this, but not surprised. She told me John cheated on her when she was pregnant with their third child. We got to talking about the sequence of events, especially toward the end when John got more and more invested in my wife. We talked about New Year's Eve, and Lisa said she had taken their 3 kids to Orlando for the holidays and John had come but then left early and wasn't there for New Year's Eve. Lisa said that John had FaceTimed her during the countdown, and she's 100% certain that he was at their house. She was so pissed she was in tears. She had someone check the Ring camera footage, and sure enough there were John and Emily both arriving in John's car and him pulling her into their house. She didn't look very excited to be there, but she wasn't struggling either. Emily had driven her car on New Year's Eve, so I don't know what happened. I told Lisa at least Emily didn't get pregnant from the guy, and Lisa assured me it wasn't possible, or at least not probable. After she caught him cheating after their third kid, she demanded he get a vasectomy as part of the conditions of staying together, and she drove him to the appointment herself because she didn't trust him, LOL. Cowboys shooting rubber bullets now. Lisa has put my lawyer on retainer, so we're going to be divorce buddies, I guess. We're forming a little club where we have sleepovers, eat s'mores, braid each other's hair, and spill the tea on Timothée Chalamet. It's gonna be great. Lisa shared a bunch of stuff with me, basically more communications between John and Emily where John begs her to see him and compliments her and tells her he bought a new outfit for her and wants to see her in it. The timeline of messages had her being friendly at first but getting more and more cold over time. Poor John. I asked Lisa if she was aware of John's lingerie fetish, and she said she could probably open a resale store with just her stuff alone. Ha. Just to head off any comments, Lisa and I are supporting each other through this, as we alone know what the other is going through. She asks me all kinds of questions about Emily. I tell her I don't want to know a thing about John. Sex is pretty much the furthest thing from my mind, and honestly I don't think I could get it up for anyone who's been with John. I low-key hate the guy. Also, my lawyer told me to be really careful about being around Lisa because we're both going for an at-fault divorce, and us being physically close in any proximity could look like we're having an affair, which would count against both of us in our divorces. Always do what your lawyer tells you to do. I moved out of the residence hotel and into the Airbnb remodel. My role there will just be painting, some sheetrock work, laying down vinyl plank flooring, and letting the service people in and out at all hours of the day. It's a welcome distraction from everything that's going on. It's kind of funny, this place. It has a thoroughly modern kitchen. The fridge has a touchscreen tablet embedded in it. This kitchen could hack into the Pentagon and turn them all vegan. The rest of the house is a crap pit. LOL. The air conditioning works, and it's got a new roof and internet, though, so I'm happy. I unblocked my mother-in-law and we chatted a bit over text, just surface-level stuff. She asked to meet me and promised that Emily would not be there. I wanted to see her, so I agreed to meet in a remote spot. I told her that if Emily was there, I'd immediately leave and cut her off forever. She agreed, and we met. I drove out to a public park a good distance from the Airbnb. She came, Emily was not there. She teared up when she saw me and said I looked so thin. She took me to her car and unloaded a ton of groceries on me, eggs, chicken, some steaks, homemade soup, homemade cookies, my favorite spinach casserole that she made, and a ton of fruits and vegetables. She told me to start eating well or she was going to move in with me and nag me until I did. I almost took her up on that. Being alone sucks. We chatted some, and toward the end she started doing the thing where you want to talk but you know you can't. Lots of starts and stops as she tried to find a loophole in my conditions. I felt sorry for her, so I told her we could talk about one thing. I know, I shouldn't have caved, but that's the reason I ghosted Emily. I cave around people who are emotional like that. I just want them to feel okay and to be the person responsible for them feeling okay. The loophole she invoked was that she didn't want to talk about Emily, she wanted to talk about reconciliation. I told her what I wrote in these posts and comments, my marriage to Emily is over. Even if we were to get back together, which we won't, it would be over, because we're different people now. I told mother-in-law that Emily wants to reconcile with the person I was before I found out the truth about her. I treated her great. I was a good husband. I was loyal and loving. That person doesn't exist anymore. The person I am now would treat her daughter badly. I would probably lash out, verbally abusing her all the time. I would be miserable, thinking about what she's doing every time she walks out her front door, and I'd make her daughter miserable too. Emily would no longer love me because I'd be this sad, miserable shadow of who I was. I wouldn't be the guy she fell in love with. I'm different now. Emily might say that she loves me, but anyone can say anything. All I have to go by are her actions, and her actions tell me she's only sorry she got caught. She is not taking accountability for willingly destroying our marriage. There's no magical phrase she can say that will make me okay with what she did. I can't forget it. I told mother-in-law I have evidence she's not privy to that will back up my claims that Emily knew what she was doing and she's not a victim in this. Mother-in-law was very interested in seeing it, and I told her she will when my lawyer says it's okay. I mentioned what I've said before about Emily being with John and then coming home and kissing me without brushing her disgusting mouth first. I think that hit home. Mother-in-law looked mortified. Mother-in-law talked about therapy for us both, individually and together, and said she'd pay for it. She said she'd been reading online about reconciliation and that it's possible. I told her I'd read about it too, and the stories that stand out to me are the ones where the person who cheated was remorseful and did the work, but after a number of years passes, cheats again and is not remorseful and leaves the cheated-on person who took them back for the affair partner. Only now there are kids involved. The most successful reconciliations I've heard of are with two people who don't fully trust each other and never will. I would either be this suicidal sucker or a loving husband who has cruel emotional outbursts and PTSD moments. I asked her if she would want to live like this. She agreed she wouldn't. I told her Emily is not telling her the whole story and that I have evidence this was a willing, ongoing affair, not sexual assault or coercion or grooming. I told her to get Emily into therapy so that she can maybe try to fix whatever inside her caused her to do this terrible thing. That if she were able to fix that about herself and be loyal, she'd make a great partner. She's only 28. She's very beautiful. She has no kids and a successful business. I told her there are probably hordes of guys wanting to marry and have kids with Emily and that mother-in-law could still count on having grandkids, just not from me. She said she wished I would think about it, and I told her I've already gone over every possible future Emily and I could have in my spare time, and I just can't do it. Emily betrayed me. I told Emily's mom that she needed to either get a lawyer for Emily or get Emily to sign whatever offer my lawyer puts in front of her. I was kind of hoping for a default judgment, but I think I'll have no such luck. Emily's family will probably get her a lawyer, and then crap hurricane Emily will blow through my life for a bit until we're finally done with this. Divorce is a flaming hellscape we all crawl through alone. I have no kids with her, thank God, so I'll be able to make a clean break when this is all done. I'll never be able to effing forget this crap, though. It's always going to be a part of me, and that sucks. It effing sucks that a person can mark another person so heavily that they're always scarred by it. Maybe it's healthy that I'm more distrustful, standoffish, and skeptical about people now, but I can't help thinking that my being changed like this would have really upset my mom. It's probably a good thing she didn't live to see this version of me. 8th update. It's been a tough 3 days. Jim and Bob are here with me at the Airbnb. They've been hiding all the knives, razors, grenades, and machine guns. We played some board games today. I'm hungover, and they're keeping me away from my phone. Matt put in an appearance, but we shooed him away after a couple of games of Catan because he has a pregnant wife at home, and she's a good woman. A lot of you asked about Bev's husband. I can't see Bev on social media, so I contacted Matt and asked if he could find her. He talked to his wife, and his wife is online only friends with Bev since she's friends with Emily. Matt's wife couldn't find her either. I asked my lawyer about it, and she tried to find Bev but couldn't. So I'm pretty sure Bev deleted all her social media or set it to extra special private mode. My question to all of you is, how the hell are we going to get our daily dose of restaurant food pictures now? We've been robbed, people. We got the credit card records, and I went to my lawyer's office Wednesday afternoon as soon as they called me. Lisa arrived soon after I did. The bills were being charged to John's wedding venue business. So I guess that means Emily is technically his employee? I don't know how this crap works. Are horse contractors? At the beginning, there are charges for hotels and really nice restaurants. There's one local boutique hotel that's pretty expensive, and they seem to settle on that one mostly. That's the one they were caught at by the private investigator in the parking lot. The hotels and restaurants started out with one hotel stay every Friday and a couple of expensive restaurant charges every week. The hotel stays lined up with appointments with John and Emily's appointment book. I'm not so naive as to think they only did it in hotels, though, so there was probably more. $500 for a couple of hours at a hotel, though. John must have been their favorite customer. There was a $1,000 hotel charge on New Year's Eve. I don't know exactly what happened, but what I think happened is that she paid for the hotel as usual with the card. They met there, then he took her home to his McMansion until after midnight and finally took her back to the hotel parking lot. She didn't Uber, though. There wasn't a charge for that on the card, so John gave her a lift. Such a gentleman. The thing that destroyed me was a charge for $174.61 at, local name, Adult Superstore about 3 weeks after she first got the card. Before I get called out, the records we got from the credit card company were a lot more detailed than regular statements. So even though the charge was listed under such and such enterprises, it was easy to connect to the Adult Superstore. That's right. Early on, my wife and her affair partner went to the friendly neighborhood sex shop together. Magical. $175? Was it a 55-gallon drum of lube? A gross of teensy tiny condoms? After a couple of months, more and more charges appeared for Saks Fifth Avenue, local boutiques, spa treatments, gas stations, and grocery stores. A good portion were business-related for her salon. John paid for our date nights. I guess this is what was meant by handling me. I remember Emily giving me gifts, but they were clothes and shoes, and I'm not a fashion guy, so I didn't know they were expensive. When she gave them to me, she didn't make it out like it was a big deal. It was just, I got you some new shoes and clothes. Try them on for me. And then, ooh. You look so handsome. Aw shucks, ma'am. This was when she was paying extra attention to me and really engaging with me. God, I felt so lucky and in love with her at the time. I was so goddamn happy, like an idiot. I looked up my leather loafers online and they were $500. I had 2 other pairs of shoes from her. Emily had told me she was doing a lot better in her business and could afford to foot some of the bills. Of course, I was overjoyed. So clueless. The charges tapered off in October. In December, the only charges other than the hotel were presumably Christmas gifts for everyone. There was a charge for a local toy store, the non-adult kind of toy store for a change. All in all, she racked up close to $30,000 on the card. She even paid a few utility bills with it. I mean, who was controlling who here? She was groomed and manipulated by him? It sounds to me like John was a complete sucker for my wife and she was using the hell out of him. I almost feel sorry for the guy. I guess I really am an oblivious pimp. I am effing done. I am so effing done with this nasty hooker, you don't even know. Whatever lingering doubts I had are completely gone. Evaporated. Adult Superstore? I'm imagining a Costco warehouse with shrink-wrapped pallets of adult toys stacked up on top of shelves. Gallon-sized bottles of Kirkland Segs lube with pumps on top, sold in packages of 2. They walked in there. Together. Made purchases there. Together. I'm done. I am so goddamn done. I think I can meet with her face to face now. I just feel nothing but loathing for her. Since there's a gag order on the subpoena, Emily and John aren't going to know we have these records until we blindside them, either in negotiations or during discovery. I was wrong about them being notified. I misinterpreted what my attorney said, again. Her goal is to have an early negotiation and blindside Emily and her attorney with what we know. Oh yeah, Emily has an attorney now. Her parents are paying for it. Her mom texted me. When I thought her business was doing awesome, that was just her spending John's money. I have no idea how it is now, but if Emily's parents are paying for her attorney, I think either her business is in trouble or she's hiding her success from them. Or maybe she's just a leech. I don't know the woman anymore. The truth will come out when she has to give up her business financials during discovery. My attorney is going to try to get Emily and her attorney into her office for an early negotiation towards settlement, trying to avoid a formal trial. I think I want to be there when Emily is blindsided with the truth. Maybe she'll tell the lawyer, her parents paid for, that she had a credit card from her sugar daddy. Yeah, right. When COVID hit, her business sidelined, she raided our entire emergency fund to keep it afloat. I suppose it was an emergency, but she kept it from me. We had a huge fight about it and ended up putting alerts on the vacation fund and emergency fund. For your information, I mentioned this in comments in earlier posts. This next part is so embarrassing to me now. After reading the card statements and thinking about my wife and the guy she was effing going to an adult superstore together, I just looked at my lawyer and Lisa, who were going over the records too, and I asked them if they thought I was good looking. They were taken aback and said yes, that I was good looking. On hindsight, the whole thing was so effing embarrassing. I get chills thinking about asking that. What were they going to say? No, you look totally busted. We can barely stomach being in the same room as you? My lawyer figured out where my head was at and told me that she's represented tons of divorce cases and that the people she's seen cheated on were all different levels of attractiveness. Some would put supermodels to shame. She said she's seen cheaters who were very attractive and cheaters she wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. She said in all cases, it was about the cheater, not the cheated. Lisa started tearing up a little. I barely kept it together. I'm so embarrassed thinking about it now. Afterward, I asked my lawyer if John could maybe sue me for the credit card charges since I benefited from them, and she said that even though this is America and anyone can sue anyone else for anything, he'd have a ridiculously small chance of winning in court, and no lawyer worth their salt would go after me. Lisa asked if she could sue Emily, but the lawyer shut that down too, saying that Emily was given a card by John and, even though it had her name on it, the person at fault is John, and that all money spent on the affair will be accounted for in Lisa's divorce settlement. Lisa was adamant about hamstringing John totally and completely. There are no alienation of affection laws in our state, unfortunately, so John is safe from me, and Emily is safe from Lisa. I told Lisa in a mock serious tone that she's not getting a goddamn cent out of me, and she and my lawyer laughed. The lawyer said she'll be handing over the information to the Internal Revenue Service, with Lisa's permission. Audit ahoy, John. I just want all of this in my rearview mirror so effing badly I can taste it. Congratulations, Emily, you've successfully annihilated all lingering affection and concern I had for you. Mission accomplished. I don't give a f what happens to you now. Have you heard about Infidelity baseball? I'm experiencing Infidelity dodgeball. I went to my office Thursday and Friday for some in-person meetings and to do some pair programming with a new hire for a couple of days to bring him up to speed on our proprietary stuff. The new hires usually work in the office for 2 to 3 months to evaluate them and to work with the team before going remote. Since he's on my team, I'll have to go in regularly to help out, but mostly I can pair program from home. Yesterday, I got a call from the guard station in the lobby that I had a visitor. I asked who it was, and they said it was my wife. I told them I wasn't taking visitors and to tell her to go away. The guard seemed taken aback but said okay. I ate lunch at my desk while the new guy went out to eat. He came back and told me there was a total smoke show waiting for me outside the building. Some of my colleagues were like, "Really?" and got up to go look. She had apparently seen his ID/key card because he's new and wears it on a lanyard instead of in his pocket like everyone else. I told him I wasn't interested in seeing her, and he looked at me like I was crazy. I explained that it was my soon-to-be ex-wife. He wanted to make friends with the senior guy and was a little socially awkward, so I tried to downplay my annoyance. He asked me why I'd dump a girl who looked like that, and I explained that she cheated on me. He wanted the gory details, and all the little groundhogs were popping their heads above the cubicle walls. I told him, and them, there's nothing more to say, it's dull and conventional. He asked who she cheated with, and I said a business associate. That seemed to satisfy him, and all the little groundhogs went back down. I didn't go down to look at her. The fact that the new guy called her a total smoke show tells me she went full-on glam. After knowing she went sex shopping with John, I was afraid of what I'd do or say. I decided I'd get ahead on some tasks and stayed until midnight. Just in case, I left through the /service entrance where the smokers go, sneaked to my car, and left with my head on a swivel like a goddamn crazy person. Dodged. How the f did she know I was there? Has she been showing up regularly or something? I'm usually not even in the building. She's turning into this Colorado River of bat crap, carving out a Grand Canyon of crazy in my goddamn head. How's that for imagery? I never thought I'd get to this point. I thought I'd always have some kind of affection for her, you know? Some kind of pity. But I'm done. I'm completely done. She could tell me she had terminal cancer, and I'd feel the same way as if a total stranger told me, "I'm so sorry. I hope you're wrong and it's not terminal. If not, I hope you don't suffer too much. Good luck." Then I'd just go on with my day. I confess that a tiny part of me thought that, given time and distance, we might come back together in some peaceful way. That's all shot to hell now. It's astounding. I thought at least a small part of me would love her forever, you know? Even the happy memories I have, especially during our wonderful bonding and romantic times that happened during her affair, are all tainted now. She was the love of my life, and I thought it would be forever. Like beyond death even. But here we are. When it comes to Emily, I'm just a black void inside now. I'm angry that I wasted almost half my life and all of my love on a straight-up prostie. God, what a sucker I am. Mini update. Emily's attorney reached out to my attorney today, and we've scheduled a preliminary negotiation for next Wednesday. My attorney said I didn't have to be there. I asked her if this is where we blindside her with the credit card records, and she said yes. So, I want to be there. I'm super nervous, though. I'll figure something out. Jim and Matt usually have some good advice. Bob, not so much. Another mini update and question. My lawyer said that Emily's side reached out and told me that I could ask Emily questions regarding the affair. So, they're not denying the affair, and they're planning on negotiating a settlement and not going to court. My lawyer is going to come up with some demands from our side. But as a good faith gesture, I guess. They didn't call it that, they wanted to allow me to give her a list of questions that she would answer truthfully. Like I said in my comments, I enjoy reading science fiction and fantasy as much as the next guy, so I'm wondering what you guys think I should ask. Seriously, though, I was going to ask about what happened on New Year's Eve. I don't know if I want to know about the sex shopping. Maybe it's a waste of time, though. Maybe I'll just ask her, prove the Collatz conjecture for all positive integers. Do your reptilian masters know that you're freely using the word love without knowledge of its definition? My lawyer says they want the questions ahead of time and will probably coach Emily on the answers, so I'm not taking it too seriously. It does signal that they want to avoid a trial, that they acknowledge the affair, and that they're probably pushing for some kind of reconciliation, which is not surprising. Honestly, the only thing that's boiling my noodle is what happened on New Year's Eve. I think I know, but I want to hear her side. Question update. I've decided to ask her only one question: what happened on New Year's Eve? That's the only question they're going to get, what happened on New Year's Eve? That's really the only thing that has me puzzled. I'm just wondering about the logistics of it all. She left in her car. She arrived at John's place together in his car. Then he took her away in his car. I asked Lisa about it, and she checked the Ring camera footage, and they left around 30 minutes after midnight. She showed up at our home a little before 1:30 a.m. and did the whole waterworks crying thing. I'm not putting any of these details in the question. I'm only asking, literally, what happened on New Year's Eve? Be detailed in your response. I don't think I'm giving up any information from our side by asking that. She already knows I thought she was cheating on New Year's Eve. I'll run her by my attorney Monday, which is the deadline. She told me she needs to approve any questions beforehand anyway, so we don't give up any potential surprises. I don't think this will reveal anything new. I'm not asking about the sex shop purchase because that would tell them that we have the credit card records, which they may or may not already know about, but we don't want to reveal that either way. Any other question at this point will just get me a lawyer-filtered tapestry of bullcrap. Probably the New Year's Eve question will too. I'm just wondering what their answer will be. If it's I went to the bridezilla party and stayed late, then I know I'm just wasting my time looking for answers from this woman, which, let's face it, I probably am.